How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Hello and welcome to, or welcome back to Mystery Inc. My name is Richie. Today we've got a fun little video for you that I've been planning to make for quite a while. I've shown you a lot of my collections of Goosebumps books and some other random series, but today I wanted to show you my collection of, I guess what you would say, vintage copies of Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys. These are the other two big series that I have been collecting alongside Goosebumps for a little over a year and a half now, since I started planning for this channel. Now, I do have a significant number of both series in the Flashlight editions, which are the current, hardcovers that have been printed since, oh goodness, when did they start printing the Flashlight editions? It was sometime in the 80s. I don't remember exactly when. I think it was mid 80s when they started printing those editions. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it was mid 80s. So I'm not going to show those off because I have just a ton of them, and they're, just your basic run-of-the-mill stuff that you would find in, any bookstore today. My collection of those is not complete yet either. I think I'm missing about a third of the Nancy Drew books and maybe about half of the Hardy Boys in Flashlight covers, but I want to show you the old ones. Now, if you don't understand exactly what I'm talking about, when I say old ones, I don't just mean old versions of those books. In the 1960s and 70s, I think it started in 1959 and through 1975, a significant number of the original Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew books were rewritten. Now, some of this was because of outdated language, some of it was because of outdated, cultural references. Some of the stories were just revised, and some of them were completely rewritten. And so for Nancy Drew, let me pull up my notes here. For the Nancy Drew books, the first 34 books were rewritten/revised between 1959 and 1975. And then for the Hardy Boys, it was the first 38 books in the series. Now, the original versions of these books were written anywhere between 1927 all the way down to 1959. And then, they were subsequently revised during that next 25-year period. 15-year period, not 25. Yeah, so that's what I'm showing you guys today, my collection of those era books. So the original print versions. So let's start out with Nancy Drew. I've got about an even number of each series. Currently, I'm slowly collecting these as I can find them, whenever I can find them, I should say. My Nancy Drew ones are not quite as impressive as some of my Hardy Boys ones, so we're going to start with Nancy Drew. Now, in 1991 through, I think it was 2005, for both series, Applewood Books did a limited reprint of a lot of these original versions of the books. So, not the revised versions, but they reprinted the original text in these fancy, really thick hardcovers. The Nancy Drew ones, here you can see have the original blue cover and the original dust jacket that the original first editions had. Obviously, they're not first edition books, but they're kind of recreations of those first edition books. So I have one of those for Nancy Drew. This is The Hidden Staircase, which is book number 2 in the series. I have several of these for the Hardy Boys, I think 4 total. And then the rest of my older Nancy Drew books are all from I think it was the 1960s, 1962 to 1968 print edition. And these are I don't know exactly what you call this version of the spine here. I've heard it referred to as Art Deco. I don't know if that's actually an appropriate term. But I have Shadow Ranch here, which is book 5. And this, I believe, is one of the ones that was significantly rewritten. Just reading like the very first page when I went over that while I was collecting them, I remembered they were very significantly different. And actually, sorry, they're all buried. Maybe I'll show that when I actually do reads and reviews of this book. I'll, read those first couple pages and show you how they're different. But I also have book number 11, which is Clue of the Broken Locket here. Then I've got book 16, which is The Clue of the Tapping Heels. Book 18, Mystery at the Moss-Covered Mansion. Book 25, The Ghost of Blackwood Hall. Really like the cover on this one. It's much better than the reprint. I have book number 28 here, which is The Clue of the Black Keys. Book number 29, Mystery at the Ski Jump. And then the last Nancy Drew book that I have with the original text is book number 32, The Scarlet Slipper Mystery. So yeah, I'm picking those up anytime I can find them. Some of them, I think I got one or two of these online. Most of them I found at my local used bookstore. And then moving over to the Hardy Boys, let me just set these down here. So we'll start out with the Applewood ones that I have. I've got 4 of these. So I do have the Tower Treasure, which I just recently read and did a review for, and compared this to the revised edition. I have Secret of the Old Mill, which I believe is book 3. These ones don't have the series number printed on them. I have Missing Chums, which is book 4, I think. It's either book 4 or 5. And then Hunting for Hidden Gold, which is the next one. I think this one's book 5. So I'm missing 2 in that sequence of 5. The Applewood reprints, they also did not do all of the ones that were revised. I think they only got up to like mid to late 20s. Maybe not even that far in the reprints before they lost the licensing to print them. Something like that. Then the next ones that I have here, so I guess we'll do these 2 because they're, again, a little bit less impressive. These are the 1960s versions. Again, the same as the Nancy Drew ones that I have. I've got 2. I've got the Hooded Hawk Mystery and Clue in the Embers, which are books 34 and 35, respectively. And then the last 4 that I have here are the oldest ones in my collection. These ones were printed in the 50s, and I've got 4 in the outer. On the outer cover, they look the same, but based on the inside flap, they're actually different ages. So this one, let me pull up my notes here again so I don't give you incorrect information. But yeah, so these versions that have the this brown tweed cover and then have the brown interior. These versions were printed between 1959 and 1962. It's a pretty short print run, but I have another copy of The Missing Chums, so I actually have 3 copies of this book altogether. And that, what is that, book 4, right? The next one that I have here, this one is slightly older. This is one of the ones that was printed between 1951 and 1958. This is the Shore Road Mystery. This one actually still has its dust jacket, which is really cool. And you can tell that this one, even though it has the same, tweed front cover, it's different because it has the orange print on the inside. So this is what indicates that it's one of the 1950s, early 1950s editions. The next one that I have, in slightly worse condition, here's a copy of The Disappearing Floor. This, I think, is one of the brown ones. Yeah, this was 1959 to 61, was it? The Disappearing Floor. And these 3 that have this brown cover that are in not good shape are ones that I've had since I was a little kid. I got them at a used bookstore when I was 9, I think. And the last one I have here is the Shortwave Mystery. This is another one that has the orange cover, and the reason it's in this bag, and I'm not going to take it out, is because the spine and the whole front cover were falling off, and the last 20-30 pages are actually falling out. They're no longer connected to the spine. So I've got it in the book just so that I don't lose the pages. Nothing falls out here. Yeah, this one did not survive very well over time, unfortunately. And yeah, that's my collection of my vintage Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys books so far. I'm trying to not necessarily get any particular editions. I would, prefer them all to match, but I am working on trying to collect all of the books from those 2 series that have the original unrevised text, because I want the original versions as they were intended to be read by the original authors. Not so much the revised for a modern audience ones. And when I say modern audience, we're talking, 1960 to 1975, so they're not even quote unquote revised for modern audience anymore. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on these series. Are there any books in this collection of the original text that you're specifically interested in me doing a review on? I'm going to read and hopefully review all of these at some point in time. Although the size of my book collection now, it may take several years to get through all these. So if there's any in particular that you would like to see, let me know and I may try to bump them up a little bit in the priority order. But yeah, that's my collection. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a little bit of time with me today. You have a great rest of your day. God bless you, and we'll see you in the next one.